Hey everyone, and welcome back to Screamers, our still shiny and very new weekly women's football podcast. I'm Maya.
I'm Jessie.
And I'm Honor.
And this week we're chatting all about the return of the WSL, catching up with some exciting manager news across the game and trying to solve the Chloe Kelly conundrum.
Plus, we'll be picking our Screamers of the week and seeing what's new on the Woso Community Noticeboard.
Should we get stuck in? Football is back, everyone.
Woohoo! The coldest weekend of the year.
Yeah, really came back with a bang to freezing cold weather, but the long wait for league football is finally over. The second half of the WSL and the championship seasons have begun. Lots and lots and lots of fun matches this weekend. We had the Manchester Derby. We had a chance to see some of our new signings. So I think we should start, however, with the day of 5-0s. There are a range of emotions here in the studio. Jubilance and utter despair. Place your guesses as to which way around that could have been. Arsenal versus Crystal Palace, 5-0. Maya's thrilled.
We love to see it.
And we had West Ham versus Chelsea 5-0, which I think is accelerating Honor's transition into becoming a fully fledged Nottingham Forest fan.
No comment.
Should we get your despair out the way, Honor?
Yeah, let's get it out the way, actually, because Maya joked earlier that I wouldn't want to talk about this, but I actually have loads to say. It was, another horrific camera angle from the WSL YouTube channel.
You mean that one wide from perched like halfway up
So
in the sky?
picky on it.
It would be okay if it didn't zoom in to a player and then they would lose the ball and it wouldn't be able to catch up with the ball and you have no idea what's going on. Anyway.
I love the little camera shakes and you can tell they're desperately trying to follow a counter-attack. Just like, oh my
it's
God, where's it
wobbling
going?
around.
Football aside, that is the one area the league really needs to improve, isn't it? The commentary and the filming and the viewing experience for everyone not in the stands.
Yeah. Anyway, so on to the actual football part. West Ham seem to have no plan in attack at all. It seems hopeful because someone will make a good run or play a good pass or carry the ball all the way up the pitch, but then there'll just be this kind of panic and players don't know what to do with it, whether to pass it off, can't finish, and it's just like, it's so frustrating because you can see there's some good stuff going on.
Was there any bright sparks for you? Was anyone...
Anouk Denton, for me, really stood out today. She was probably main or the only player creating any chances for West Ham. But it was crazy because Chelsea obviously managing the minutes and resting loads of their players. And it's just scary how much depth they have and the talent they have on their bench that they could bring on. They're bringing on like Guru Wrighton at 70 minutes, like, to be able to do that.
And they still have players to come back. They still have the lesser Sam Kerr.
Yeah, I mean, Lauren James wasn't even in the squad today, so I don't know if they're resting her as well for Arsenal, which is just obscene. They're bursting at the seams with players.
Yeah. Can you bear to talk us through their goals, Honor? Can you do it to yourself?
So it started off pretty early on with a Kat Macario
Stunner.
S-word.
I loved it. It was gorgeous.
It was really good. Just loop behind Kinga Shemik, the West Ham keeper, who I actually think is a pretty decent keeper. It's unfortunate that West Ham as a team let her down.
Keepers always get blamed, don't they? Like, you could lose 5-0 and everyone be, oh God, the keeper had a shocking game. It's like, it has to get through 10 players before
exactly.
it gets to them.
And boy did it.
And boy did it. Ripped through every single one of them.
Yeah. Next goal, Erin Cuthbert, 10 minutes later. After that, we had Aggie Beaver-Jones score an absolute beauty. Sondi Baltimore again.
Real beauty.
And then finally, I was a bit... disappointed for Amber Tisiak to score an own goal because
just to cap it off,
she'd been playing well despite the scoreline.
You never want to be like on the receiving end of a Chelsea demolition job as well. We can pass from the despair of West Ham to the joy and elation, not of North London, but way out in Meadow Park where today's game took place. I was there. Chief Gunner Maya was not,
I was
sadly.
not. Weirdly, I was actually at Leyton Orient, so
yeah, we're just really
watching the Spurs Leicester
Maya
game.
just really wanted to go to Spurs. Just secretly a Spurs fan.
I just sort of ended up there.
Yeah.
But more on that in a minute. I was getting nervous watching the Arsenal score on my phone because I really wanted us to use this to up our goal difference because it's all like, it's pretty close in like second, third, fourth in the table. So only scoring one goal in the first half, I was nervous.
It did feel like, oh, Renee, you've got the job permanently. Now it's going to be back to dreadful 1-0 wins.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was worried about. But then, they just came thick and fast in the second half.
I do think Palace looked good in the first half, especially Cato. She constantly looked a threat, and she had the running of McCabe quite a few times. And it felt like they were being very adventurous, Palace, which actually I think was the big change in the second half. It felt like Palace were trying to sit back a little bit and absorb some of that pressure, whereas it had a lot more joy of containing Arsenal by just going out and trying to attack themselves, and they just didn't have the outlet, which...
Yeah.
You know, they don't have a squad that's as stacked with talent
Thank
as Arsenal do.
God.
Thank God, because they could have done some real damage
Yeah.
in the first half. And then, in the second half, it felt like once the floodgates opened, they opened.
We were ready. But yeah, I was thrilled. I mean, I would have loved to have won 5-0 and for Chelsea not to have done, so I could have felt like we were making up some ground. But a great result for us. Leah Williamson's first goal in 679 days in the WSL.
Was very thrilled for her to score.
Yeah, she must be buzzing.
And thrilled for Mariona Caldente as well. It is a joy to watch her play in real life.
Yeah, she's
like
brilliant.
She is just phenomenal.
And so happy for her that she got the pen this time.
It was a strange pen. It was a very strange penalty.
It was almost like no power.
Yeah.
It was like a
pass.
pass.
But she was so good at sending the keeper wrong. It's like she knew.
Keeper didn't even move.
The keeper, you could see the keeper wanted to go the other way, but they also just couldn't even trust themselves.
But it was so slow. It felt like the keeper could have gone the other way, got up, walked across, and probably still saved it.
It was just like ultimate mind power.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it was
like, this is going in.
It was the North Bank just collectively sucking the ball into the goal. Not to dig in immediately and deflate your elation and burst the bubble. I was a little bit surprised by Kim Little. It felt like she was getting thrown off the ball and sort of outmaneuvered quite a lot.
I think Kim Little always used to be the player where if she was on the pitch, I felt safe. I don't necessarily feel that anymore.
Yeah.
I think she's obviously like a great personality in the team, but I'm not sure she's our best choice in that position anymore.
No.
But also lots of respect to Kim Little, our captain.
Hear that, every journalist. She is the captain still.
I know.
As much as you want to call Leah. Yes, there was joy for Maya. There was also joy for Liverpool in the game that kicked off the second half of the season. Liverpool 2, Brighton 1. It's very fun to see some of our new signings. So Sam Kerr, who we've just signed on loan from Bayern Munich, started, which was super exciting for me. Absolute wonder goal to open things up from Olivia Smith. She is, the term generational gets chucked around way too much. But how...
She's incredible.
She's amazing.
Boss in the field. That run, the strength to hold off Poppy Pattinson, the Brighton defender, the entire run, she has the ball, and then the composure to finish it like it's nothing. It just makes it look effortless. Absolutely incredible.
What an amazing signing.
Incredible signing.
She's really good. Star girl.
Yeah, I'm so deeply terrified that someone will come calling for her in the summer. And I hope we've locked her down on quite a...
I hope you have too, because I think it does make, as we always talk about, the league more competitive if you can retain players like that.
And I think, I don't know, Brighton fans can correct me if I'm wrong, I think Patterson was very lucky to stay on the pitch. She got away with a lot of yellow card offences throughout the game, and then eventually got given one in the 80th minute, but by that point that should have been a second yellow, should have been off. She was like pulling, there was off the ball shoving, and it's a physical game. Olivia Smith is a more physical player simply because she's a bit stronger, but it feels like Matt Beard made some comments after the game saying that refs need to be protecting Olivia Smith, and I have a little bit of an issue with the choice of words, because I think it's not the refs need to be protecting her, it's refs need to be doing the job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. You shouldn't have to sub off a forward for a foul off the ball that wasn't given as anything because she's hurt herself. Like, it was ridiculous.
But then if they do feel that Olivia specifically is being targeted, like we know other players in the league are, then perhaps it is a case of not protecting that player, but, you have to tell people where to focus instead of they're just trying to do their job. It's like, look, there's a problem here, be aware of it.
Yeah. And then two very strange goals to round up the rest of the scoring. It was always going to be Nikita Paris, wasn't it?
I love this.
Always going to be.
I loved this for her.
Absolute little shithouse. From Tuxteth, a youth player and started her career at Everton, has played for City, has played for United. She was always going to score against Liverpool. But to celebrate,
the crowd booing her.
I love the crowd booing her. But to go that hard on a goal that you only scored because it took an insane deflection.
I'm sorry, I loved it.
I loved the shithousery, but to give it all that for a goal that was just a freak goal.
Classic football heritage.
I really
love
like that.
Yeah. Then we benefited from our own little bit of luck. I felt very sorry for the Brighton defender.
It's been a weekend of own goals.
It has been a weekend of own goals. It did feel like that sort of reflected the play. So those were the games that we're most excited about because they involved our own teams. But also this weekend we had Spurs Leicester, and as we mentioned, Top Gooner Maya decided she's going to come to Meadow Park. She's going to go watch Spurs.
As you do.
As you do.
Sunday afternoon.
Guys,
So the way to get her girlfriend to really care about football was to take her to watch Spurs Leicester.
It was only 10 minutes from our house. Honestly, it's much easier to get to. Very scrappy game. Total mid-off. Actually, lower off.
Bottom off? Total
Bottom off, yeah. Jessica Naz started over Martha Thomas, which I couldn't understand.
Bizarre decision.
Leipzig own goal 5 minutes in.
That was
that.
really poor.
And Spurs were lucky. Spurs were honestly lucky with that because they all just fumbled the bag, both teams. The Leicester captain fumbled 2 chances on basically an open goal. It was very, very average and actually quite disappointing to watch, to be honest.
I felt pretty similarly about Everton Villa on Saturday night as well. That was also a bit of just a game of fun. I mean, Villa probably should have been 2, 3, 4 ahead.
They had a lot of chances.
They had a lot of chances. They were running Everton ragged, but for some incredible saves from Courtney Brosnan. Everton were just being carved open time and time and time again. And maybe that's because Villa had a cup match to get a little bit of match sharpness back and Everton's was called off, but also it was just shocking. And then an absolute S-word. S-word. I'm not going to give it the screamer treatment because it's not my pick for the week, but it was a stunning goal nonetheless from Sarri. Out of nowhere. It got them the draw. But the 5-0 wins aside, 5-0 losses aside, I think the big match has been, we've just watched it, Honor and I together, the Manchester derby at the Etihad.
Unreal game. This was
proper
quality
football.
After all of the slop
After
I've
all
seen
the
this weekend,
boring games.
it was so refreshing. I was like, how am I going to do my football podcast when I actually hate football now?
And guys,
then,
episode 1, that's it. We're not doing anymore.
And then this game happened, and I was like,
was so
I'm in love
good.
again. The beautiful game.
It felt like you couldn't look away. Every time I looked down, like Honor and I missed the goal in real time because we thought, oh, nothing is going to happen straight away. Looked down, looked up. Oh, Ella Toon scored again.
Literally
She
for about 3
capitalised
seconds.
off 3 big mistakes.
Yeah.
But she just poached them. I'm so impressed.
I know, it felt like a really different side to Ella Toon's game. She sort of went from, playmaker to just, I'm going to charge.
She became Rachel Daly.
Yeah. From the off, Man U had all the energy and they were charging down.
They
City.
were. It was
Man
just like,
City looked sloppy, actually. Sloppiest I've seen them in a while.
they did look sloppy, and I think they are so hurt with the injuries. City just didn't really have it in them, and United looked like they wanted it way more.
There was
so
one
determined.
moment where I wondered if City were going to go for them, like just before half-time when they started to look really dangerous, and I wondered if they were going to come back in the second half.
It was when they got those goals back, you were thinking, okay, are they going to have a bit of momentum now?
Yeah, because it felt like United's goals came sort of out of nowhere. So Toon charging down, and the Leah Galton, was it offside? Was it not?
Yeah.
Was it onside? So that was a tight one. There was, Toon's second goal, potentially also a tight one, probably just onside. But
That looked on to me.
Her bum
I
was
think.
offside,
Yeah.
but that's not the rules, so she's all right.
Yeah, she was fine. But it did feel like whereas United's goals sort of came out of nothing, City worked their goals.
Yeah, they were building, weren't they?
Yeah, the legendary game.
Yeah, the saviour of the weekend.
And it's put us second in the table.
Well, there you go.
So thank you so much, Manu.
Please don't
for your
ever.
service.
Oh, what a disgusting thing to say.
I'm sorry, but I have never wanted Man U to win a game. But then I just thought, do you know what? Rather than Man City tonight.
I never know who to root for. Honor and I were talking about this.
It's been a very conflicting time watching this game because I don't want Man United to win. But then I'm happy for Ella Toon for scoring a hat-trick. But I'm very sad for Chiara Keating for conceding the goals. But I'm very annoyed because I don't want Mark Skinner to be happy. It's really hard to know how to feel about it.
It's easy to be conflicted when your team has no skin in that game. But for me, I'm afraid it was a clear one.
I was brutal, absolutely brutal on that side of the table. Oh no, come sit with me.
Thank you. Yeah, maybe I will actually.
She honestly scored 5 goals and she gets all high and mighty. I don't know what that's about.
Listen, just wait, your downfall is coming.
No, it's the Renaissance.
No, you know how you manifested the goal difference today? I think you may have just jinxed yourself into an absolute battering next season. But yeah, no, I'm with you on it. It's like I very much did not know. I was just sort of rooting for the concept of football.
Yes.
And I feel like we got
And
a win with the
football won
concept
today.
of football.
Football did win tonight. That
Yeah.
was a great.
Yeah.
Football
Tonight,
died
sorry,
in the
exclusively
afternoon.
tonight,
Yeah,
because today
it was dead in the afternoon.
Resurrected at 6:45 p.m.
And guys, we don't have to wait long until we get to watch a Manchester derby all over again.
there's going to be another Manchester derby on Wednesday in the Subway Cup quarterfinals. Rest in peace, the Conti Cup. You were much loved. Other than the Manchester derby, fixtures are Tottenham Hotspur versus West Ham, which in my mind
that's going to be boring.
is as Maya said today about Spurs Leicester, this is kind of a mid-off. This is the London mid-off derby. That could go either way, to be honest. Who knows?
Don't have any paint that you can watch dry.
It'd be funny for either of them to be in the semi-finals. So Chelsea Durham, as we mentioned last week and earlier today, we can't stop thinking about Durham. Come on,
Durham. If Durham do it, we have to get Durham shirts and wear them.
Yeah, I'm in.
Like that
I'm in.
We love an underdog.
As we said, football wins
love some
in this
cup
situation.
chaos.
We love cup sets. Like, we love it all.
We love it. And so the next fixture will be Brighton Arsenal. Will Brighton want revenge for their Emirates battering in the WSL this season?
They may want it.
Or will Arsenal's
Are they going to get it?
Conti Cup heritage?
I want to win the lottery. Sure as shit's not going to happen.
But yeah, do we think Arsenal can keep their Conti Cup heritage continuing in the Subway Cup as well?
I think it would be hilarious if, after having had the League Cup on lock under Jonas, that under a coach that actually feels incredibly exciting in René Slagers, Arsenal don't win the cup this time. Not to write off our beloved Durham, who we're all championing greatly, but Chelsea, I feel like, are going to prioritise the Champions League over anything else. So,
But I think they're going to get to the Subway Cup final because they will meet Spurs or West Ham in the semis.
Yeah.
So.
And even resting your starting 11 at Chelsea, you still have a second world-class starting 11.
Exactly.
All right, should we put money on it now? Who are you saying is making the final?
Oh, it's so boring, but I think Arsenal-Chelsea.
I'll go with Brighton and Chelsea.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so no Man City.
Ooh. Yeah, Jessie, what's your prediction?
I'm going to be insane, and I'm saying Durham are doing it. Durham are getting the whole way. It's going to be
Love that.
Durham Arsenal, and
Love that.
it will be a 4-1 win to Arsenal.
God, I hope not, because I'm going to feel so split.
Your split loyalties.
My new team.
We'll get you a new. We'll get you a half and half scarf.
Get half and
Yeah.
half. Okay, it's time for Honor, Jessie and me to pick out our Screamers of the Week. Each week we'll pick our absolute favourite goal from the last 7 days, whether that's from the WSL, an international fixture, or even a grassroots game. And then you'll get to vote on which is the Screamer of the Week. So, who wants to go first?
Come on, Anna.
Well, I think the actual objective opinions that I have of the Screamer of the Week, unfortunately, 3 of those are Chelsea goals against West Ham, which I refuse to pick, obviously. And we've actually mentioned my goal that I've chosen as Screamer of the Week. I don't know if either of you can guess which one it was.
Is it Sarri?
It's not. Sarri was a close runner-up.
Oh, you got the same as me, Olivia Smith.
Olivia Smith.
Oh, it was
I
a beauty.
just absolutely loved how she battered off the defence. She just takes matters into her own hands and just goes for it. She's really determined, and what a finish as well. Cool head on that girl.
It was incredible. But Maya, you can't pick the same one now, because how
I
can you want to
know.
pick between 3?
I will go with my honourable mention instead then, which is Sarri's goal versus Aston Villa in the 89th minute from the edge of the penalty box.
Mm.
It
It
was
was
such,
really
in an
good.
otherwise boring game,
Yeah.
it was an absolute
Yeah.
beauty.
I think the fact that it's an 89th minute equaliser as well just makes it so clutch.
Yeah. It's the goal we all want to score, isn't it? you what, like, that's
It's the ultimate
goal.
screamer.
Yeah. I have gone a little bit rogue, and I have gone nothing from the WSL, but I've gone to Italy. I was just scrolling through my Instagram feed, and there was a clip from DAZN from the Italian Supercoppa. It was Juve versus Lazio. Barbara Bonansea just came out of nowhere. I couldn't tell if it was meant to be a cross, and it just sort of, she kind of mishit it, and it was a goal.
I saw a clip of this.
It was absolutely incredible. And then I was like, oh, maybe it was just a mishit. It's been incredible, but it wasn't intentional. I looked her up, and she is apparently known for scoring worldies.
Our girl meant it.
But yeah, so that was absolutely incredible. I haven't seen any of the other goals from that game, but
I
that's
didn't
the one that stood out
realise
for me.
you were such an Italian football fan.
I'm not, but I have been to an Italian women's game. Last January, my girlfriend and I were in Rome, and we thought it'd be very fun to go and see a Roma match. And this week they were playing at the Roma Women's Stadium, which is as far out of Rome as you can get. I think it was the last stop on this one metro line, and we're just watching flats appearing everywhere. Oh, there's fields now. I think we might be in the pastures. It made, for anyone who's been to Meadow Park for Arsenal, it made that look like metropolitan.
Zone
this
1.
was this was absolutely end of nowhere.
Some rural,
but it was like a sitcom. That every part of this match experience was insane. Also, we didn't have tickets because it wouldn't let us buy tickets online, so we thought, we'll just be able to go to the ticket office. There was no ticket office that was open, so we just sort of were stood outside the stadium thinking, what do? We have made this trek down. Eventually, this security guard, who I think was incredibly confused why these 2 English girls had turned up wanting to go and see Roma women, took pity on us, found some tickets in the back office. I don't know whose they were, gave them to us. We got in. Don't even remember if we paid for them. Very strange
You've
experience.
just stolen some of the player families' tickets.
I think maybe some of the families were outside just waiting to be let in.
How were the crowd?
The crowd in our bit was fantastic.
Really? I love that, at least.
I think we were in like the main hype bit because it was sort of silent up to us. The pitch was, I know we talk a lot about the quality of the pitches here, but I've never seen a pitch that sort of slopes off to the sides.
Gamba.
If you'd have put a ball in the centre spot, it just would have rolled off to either edge. 10 out of 10 experience. Absolutely would do it again. So yeah, those are our Screamers of the Week. We will put them on our Instagram stories for you to take a look at if you've not seen them already. And then we will also add the option for you to vote and let us know which of those 3 you think goes down as the undisputed Screamer of the Week. Okay, so last episode we talked about some of the biggest signings that had happened in the transfer window. But this week, it's been more about some exciting manager changes. And there's one that I know Maya is desperate to talk about, but we will get to that one. But first up, we had Casey Stoney, England icon, incredible defender in her time. First ever head coach of Man U when they finally decided to have a women's team.
And before that, player manager at Chelsea.
She'd been on the assistants team as well for England. We won't hold her Man United allegiances against her. She then went on to win a bunch of trophies with San Diego Wave in California before being replaced by a certain blonde Swedish man. And she has just been appointed as the new head coach of Canada. And then we also have Carla Ward, formerly of Aston Villa. She was part of Emma Hayes' staff for the US women's national team at the Olympics this summer. Weirdly, her and Casey, I didn't realise this, they started their official managerial careers in the same year, both in 2018, was their first head coach jobs. She has just been appointed the new head coach of the Republic of Ireland. And then finally, the news has been blowing up the group chats, blowing up our group chat. Maya is champing at the bit to talk about her. Renee Slegers has officially been named the Arsenal women's head coach. She is the interim, no more. How are we feeling about that?
This is such a great decision. I'm so happy about it. It made my day when it came out. She's been doing so well. She's now won 11 out of 12 games, hasn't lost a game. It was, to me and to lots of other fans, it felt like such a no-brainer, at least to let her do a full season. I'm so pleased they've signed her till the end of 25-26. It just seems like the players are responding really well to her. I think it's a brave decision from Arsenal. She maybe wasn't the safest option to go for. So I'm really pleased that they have backed her. And she deserves it, I think. And yeah, it's great to have more female managers in the WSL.
Yeah, it's taken 10 years, but Arsenal have a woman at the helm again.
Finally, exactly.
And it's quite funny that the 2 names you mentioned last week of who you would have been happy to manage at Arsenal actually are the 2 other we've mentioned today with exciting new international jobs.
They're all such good signings.
Yeah.
I listened to a Casey Stoney interview with Meg Linehan, and she was talking about how important it is to have more female managers, what a great week it's been for those signings. Yeah, it's been a great week in women's football.
It's so funny because they're both at sort of different stages as well. Canada, I think, are really strong. It's not so much a rebuilding job in the team that Casey's got to do, but there's a lot of trust and confidence that needs to be rebuilt in Canada. So yeah, for people who don't know, so there was an insane scandal over the summer where it was revealed that members of Canada's backroom coaching staff had been using drones to spy on that. I can't remember which camp it was.
It was New Zealand.
New Zealand.
And I have the funniest little tidbit about this because I remember this interview so well. It really tickled me. So Sam Mewis did an interview with Rebecca Stott, who's a New Zealand player. And Rebecca Stott just really hilarious, deadpan Kiwi, goes, I hear this noise. And I'm like, I'm a bit of a drone enthusiast. I've got one myself. And then she goes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is that a Maverick Pro? And so I look up to my left, and sure enough, there's a freaking drone there.
Oh
and,
my
then,
God.
and then Canada beat New Zealand the next week or something in
Yeah.
the competition.
They still got through.
Yeah.
They had points deductions because of this drone spying, and it was discovered that it had been maybe a historical tactic that had been in and around the Canada setup. Big scandal, and it led to the coach stepping down. And so I think
During the Olympics.
during the Olympics, it was just absolutely
messy.
insanely messy scandal.
Very messy.
So Casey, I feel like, is a really talented group of players, but has maybe just to encourage and inspire people to watch Canada again. And I feel like if there's anybody who can do that, it is Casey Stoney. And then Carla Ward, respectively, has to do a bit more of a rebuild job. Republic of Ireland obviously didn't qualify for the Euros. Really tough for those players, and we've seen a few international retirements now from some of the more long-standing members of Republic of Ireland. But
arguably gives her a bit more time to build the team without the pressure of a big competition like the Euros coming up, maybe.
True.
Also, massive props to the media team who did such a great signing video for her. Did you guys
Oh my
see
God,
it?
yeah, it was
Nina
fantastic.
Simone? It was so good.
No, I missed this.
Oh, you should
Wait,
watch
what?
it.
No,
It's really epic. It's just like starts kind of behind her like anonymously, and it's this like amazing Nina Simone track. It's just really well put together. It was just a great video. You should watch it.
I love
And it was
that.
nice that it didn't leak as well before that. Like it's,
Yeah.
I feel like
it was so
usually,
rare.
Surprise.
because I mean the Casey Stoney stuff was trailed, but
Yeah.
that just came out of nowhere. So I was super happy for all three of them, and I hope it goes really well for all three of them.
There have been lots of other exciting transfer rumours floating around this week, especially the news that Chelsea, Arsenal and Lyon are all interested in signing USA international and defender supreme Naomi Gurman.
Maya is fuming at that. What do you mean she's not coming straight to Arsenal? What are you talking
But
about?
also now all the reporting in the last couple of days seems to have slightly dropped Arsenal out of it, and it's more like Chelsea and Lyon are like maybe considering a 7-figure offer, and it seems like Arsenal dropped off the end of that.
Well,
so.
didn't Leon rule themselves out of that though? There was I can't remember who reported it. Apparently Leon had put in a $1 million
Yeah.
bid.
Oh, and they said it wasn't
Well,
true.
they denied
Yeah.
it, but I think it was true. They just are embarrassed.
that they got turned down.
Yeah.
Let's
I
see what
mean-
happens. Maybe she'll do a full pivot and come to Arsenal.
It could be another. Was it Trinity Rodman who
Yeah.
who found out that she was supposedly going to Arsenal by Instagram rumours?
I mean, if
so
the
she's keeping an eye on her future on Instagram.
if the online Arsenal army had their way, then I think every member of the US national team would be at
Definitely
the
triple
Emirates.
espresso.
But there has been a very hot off the press, exciting new transfer rumour. Luke Edwards at the Telegraph reported that apparently Manchester United are considering going in for Chloe Kelly. Chloe Kelly of Manchester City.
Hence why she wasn't playing tonight, right?
Well, we
Yeah, she wasn't in
assumed
the
it-
squad
Yeah, she
tonight.
wasn't in the squad. I mean, it's just something we wanted to talk about anyway before this rumour even dropped. Chloe Kelly's season
She started one game in the WSL this season.
to have gone from a really great season, a great few years, off the back of the Euros and her season with Man City, and then just to have, apparently there's been some sort of rupture in relationship
It's
with
baffling.
Gareth Taylor, but
But it's just the freeze out is so grim. I think it's such
Yeah.
a horrible way to treat players.
and to have a
it's-
player of that quality
Yeah.
sitting on your bench because of, I mean, we don't know,
Because of what?
yeah, we don't know what's gonna happen or what has happened, but to have somebody of Chloe Kelly's quality who's like a proven game changer. It's not even someone who's got promise or potential.
No,
like
she won us the Euros.
She won us the Euros. God, Gareth, have you not seen the T-shirts we've all got of her? On the one hand, I'm very excited that she's going to go and get more game time ahead of the Euros because
She needs to get some, because even Serena has said like it's a worry.
Serena's not usually someone that pays much attention to whether her favourites are starting or not because she'll still
No.
play them. So she's starting to get worried. But to go from Manchester City to Manchester United on loan.
Until this rumour came out,
On loan.
I was going to come here and say I just can't see her at another club in the WSL. I
Yeah.
thought
So
she would go
funny.
to Europe.
Yeah,
and
well,
then
that's
this
what
rumour
everyone
came out
was-
that she's off to United.
Yeah, I mean, there's been nothing to suggest that she is agreeing to that or that has been agreed.
No.
I think people are reading into the fact that she wasn't in the squad today. Well, I think we all want her to move on and find a team, but it's something I think seeing her in red, if it does come off,
So weird.
yeah,
So
And
weird.
like surely psychologically quite weird for her.
yeah. Well, I mean, if you've fallen out of love with the club that you're playing for, though, who best to go to than their
The
closest rivals.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true.
I'll be very happy for her if it does come together and she does. We've seen players do this before, of like make moves to try and get themselves back into international contention ahead of competitions. And the Chloe Kelly, Ella Toon link up Grace Clinton ahead of the Euros. It could be, you know, Serena says that, she start rubbing her hands together.
It could be nice.
But that absolutely blew my mind when I saw that
we'll
come
check
in.
back in on the next episode and see if there's been any progress there, because that's a very exciting prospect. Before we go, it's time to take another look at our now world famous Woso Community Noticeboard, where we shout out some of the stuff that we've spotted in the world of women's football. So who has got something to add to the notice board this week?
First off, I want to shout out the person on TikTok who said that my comment about Lindsay Horan got them to check us out. I can promise many more thoughts and feelings, capital T, capital F, about Lindsay over the course of this podcast. I watched PSG Lyon last night in full, and my God, what a dull game. I don't even have anything to say about her. She just played so anonymously. There was no comment. But my first thing on the notice board is, did everyone see Laura Wienrotter's 26th birthday cake?
I was hoping someone was going to bring this.
It was so tragic.
I know that.
For the listeners,
Yeah.
it's a bowl of cherry tomatoes with a candle in.
Yeah, a big 26 candle into a bowl of whole cherry tomatoes.
I'm sorry, but
Okay.
it's deeply
The problem
sad.
was, though, that someone sent a screenshot of this, zoomed in on her and the tomatoes. But then when I saw it on Instagram, there's like a whole brunch spread on the table. So it's not as tragic.
I still think putting a
it's
birthday candle in a bowl of
tragic.
cherry tomatoes
It's
is tragic.
What's wrong with a birthday cake?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not advocating.
Guys, we know where
for
to
the
get on her
tomato
for,
candle.
for her next birthday.
Just because I'm gluten free.
Yeah, you get what you deserve.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, that was my fit. Anyone else got anything chaotic they want to put on?
Mine is not chaotic. I've seen that Google have removed the default of searching for men's football when you search for a game. So now when you search for a game, you don't have to write women's at the end, and then you just select whether it's men's or women's, which is honestly going to save me a lot of time.
Yeah.
And we love to see it. I think that's great.
I used to hate when you would look up a fixture and it would just assume, like it was last season when it was Bristol City, and then you try and find like Bristol City versus Arsenal score, and it's digging into like the
it's from, like,
1990s.
yeah.
Just show me the match has just happened. Oh my God. Another one I saw, again, it's like hot off the presses today. It was an article in The Athletic. And this is the thing that I promised I wanted to talk to you both about, because I think it's absolutely insane. Charlotte Harper in The Athletic did a piece on, they call themselves the Purples. It's people who support both Man U and Man City. Tends to be one of them in the men's game. I know. So they support one club in the men's game and one club in the women's game.
Why?
Because they're just fans of Manchester.
So what? Someone called themselves the human version of a half and half scarf. So
Oh, they're the purples because blue and red.
because blue and red.
Oh, Maya.
Sorry. The penny's dropped. It's been a long weekend. It's been a long weekend.
But yeah, said and interviewed a few of these people who were like very proud to say that they switch allegiances.
Were
from the
these
men's
people
to the women's game.
anonymous?
No. They put they put not just first names, full names attached to these
Proud
quotes.
to be purple.
Proud to be making some interesting choices, and it was a lot of people. So one of them is a Manchester City fan, lifelong fan, but then started going to Manchester derbies when United joined the league, and a lot of her local football teams she plays for were United fans. So she just became a United fan, as you do. Like, it's very strange.
As you do.
We'll share the article for people to read, because the idea that you could be a Liverpool fan in the men's game and an Everton fan in the women's game, I know this is bad.
You'd be the purples as well.
We would be the Purples as well, except
It's
we wouldn't,
always red
because
and
I would lose all respect for somebody who did that.
I would understand it if you're a Man U men's supporter and you lived in Manchester pre-2018
Yep.
and you wanted to support the women's game.
So one of the people in the article that was their situation and wanted to support the women's game and had been like going to the Euros. They went to the Euros in 2005 when it was in the Northwest. Lifelong fan, but then transitioned into having City shirts and signed by the players. And when United joined the league in 2018, everyone assumed, you're a massive Man United fan, you'll probably support Man United. She said, no, I'm also a City fan.
I see how that could happen, but it doesn't make it any less bizarre.
No, it really, I just couldn't. If you turn around tomorrow and said you started going, well, I mean, you did go to a Spurs game today, actually. Is this the start?
Guys, I'm actually a watered down red.
You're pink.
You're pink.
I'm a pink.
You're
Pink is her favourite colour in case.
Oh my God,
you
she's been
guys
dropping
couldn't
the
tell.
clues so
Oh my
long.
God, how do we not realise Maya's a pink?
Maya's a
Wake
pink.
up, guys.
Anyway, that blew my mind.
One that I thought was really funny, this is a silly little piece of news for our notice board, is our fave Kiara Keating posted on Instagram photos with a brand new pram and loads of baby gear from Joy, who are the sponsors of obviously the Joy Stadium. And obviously, as you can imagine, everyone was like, oh my God, she's announcing her pregnancy. And then tap to the next story, next slide. Oh my God, no, I'm not pregnant. It's for my friend.
See, she is deeply Gen Z, so she should have known exactly what people were going to think about that.
Maybe she did.
Oh.
Maybe she's trying to mess with us all. Because it worked, Kiara. It worked. You
It
had me
did.
for a second.
Blew our minds a little bit.
And lastly, 4 legends were inducted into the WSL Hall of Fame this week. Gilly Flatty, Rebecca Welch, Steph Horton and Alex Scott, who in her speech, firstly she accepted her award in a vintage Arsenal shirt, which I loved, but
Very
also
cool.
in her speech talked about how she had coached Renee Slagers as a 17-year-old in the Arsenal Academy.
No.
She's one of our own.
Oh
She
my
is one of
God,
our
no,
own.
really?
Yeah.
Full circle.
Oh my God,
crazy.
that's
I know.
mad. I mean, I know Rebecca Welch has done so much to raise the profile of women refereeing, but the amount of head loss that woman has inspired.
I
Oh
know.
my God.
When I saw
Even
her,
at
I was
the
like,
awards,
Yeah.
like the players were like,
Yeah.
like Steph Horton, I thought was about to fight her after they were interviewing them both
Rebecca
about
Welch
some
was
refereeing
like-
decision, and Steph was like,
Well,
maybe I'll wait.
Rebecca Welch was like, no, but I like to think with me and Steph there was mutual respect. And Steph was like, there wasn't.
That was it. It was hilarious. Oh my God.
Yeah, those are our notice board picks for this week. If you've got anything you want to add for next week, it could be big, it could be small, it could be news about your team or anything you want to add, just DM us on any of our social profiles or drop us an email. That is all we've got time for on Screamers this week, but we'll be back next Tuesday to talk about all the latest matches, the latest transfers and the women's football chaos. But until then,
You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, where we're popping off, and all of the social media at @screamers_pod. Or if you have something to add to the community notice board, you can email us at screamerspod@gmail.com.
And follow Screamers for free on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, so you'll be the first to know when new episodes drop. And if you liked the episode, please leave us a review. Goodbye.
bye everyone.
Bye.